So good morning. So here we are, Sunday morning, and I'm going to talk about innocence. Last week we did the song Innocent Man, Billy Joel, and I said, I have a talk about innocence, but that's for another time. Well, here it is. I figured, why not? Good a time as any. So anyway, I'm going to stand here today and let you know that each and every one of you is innocent. Innocent. Totally innocent. Each of you has done nothing wrong. I say that in confidence because it's true. Absolutely true. I speak to you, I speak about life. In life, you have done nothing wrong. Your life. You've done nothing wrong because your life exists in only one realm. It exists now. Your life exists in the present moment. That's the only time life exists. It's the only place life exists, the realm of the present moment. And in the present moment, right now, in this moment, you are innocent. Not because you're sitting in church and you don't have any chance to go out and do something dumb. But even when you go out and you do whatever dumb thing you're going to do, you're still innocent. We generally think about life as our accumulation of our past actions, deeds, words, thoughts. But friends, that's not your life. That's your history. That is your history. And your history doesn't exist. Good news, your history doesn't exist. The only place it exists is in your mind. It has no ethereal, physical presence. It has no existence except what's between your ears. That's it. It's the only place it lives. That history is constantly changing. Constantly changing. It changes according to new understandings that you gain about yourself, about your world. It changes in comparison to the history you're creating moment to moment. It changes according to the history that's being created in the world today, which you get these a couple times a day now. So your history is changing right along with that. Because your ideas are changing right along with that. Your experience is changing right along with that. But you don't. I'm speaking of the truth of you. You don't. The experience of you looking out through these eyeballs, the consciousness, that doesn't change. Everything else might, but you don't. It's here, in that space, where you stand in judgment of your histories, where you stand in judgment of what's going on around you, in the perception of someone else's history, or your perception of the events of the world. It's in this concept that we begin to lose our concept of self. You begin to lose your concept of who you are, because we tie it to things of the past. We tie it to things that's going on now. We tie it to whatever it is that we can throw a rope around and reel it in and relate to that is other than ourselves. Because yourself is not easy to live with. Because yourself is unconditional love. Yourself sees all this craziness in the world and knows that that's humanity. Humanity will be humanity. Forgives them. Doesn't agree with a lot of it. But it is what it is. The sages say, let what comes come and let what goes go. That way you can be you in the midst of it. When we use our judgments, not discernments, judgments, there's a difference there between judging and discerning. Discerning, you are looking out into what's going on and you're making assessments of what is good for you. Discerning is making assessments. Judging is saying right or wrong according to what you believe. Everybody's judgment is different. Everybody's discernment is different because everybody's experience of life is different. We do these things because we are relating our lives to the world. And in doing these things, we have a tendency to lose the truth. We get caught up in the kerfuffle of all the insanity. We bring it in. And it makes our world just a little more crazy. Have you noticed that the past few weeks? That your world's getting just a little more crazy than it was a couple weeks ago? Because we're getting lost in all the stuff. In Course in Miracles, it says, guilt then is a way of holding past and future in your mind to ensure the ego's continuity. For if what has been will be punished, the ego's continuity is guaranteed. Yet the guarantee of your continuity is God's, not the ego. When we're judging, when we're holding someone guilty of what we perceive as something not good, we're getting that little boost of, I'm better than you, you stink. That's the ego. You're not defined by that. It loves to create scenarios where it can feed off of that, and it can become the avenue of your life existence of judging. But if you're able to move beyond that, you discover that the continuity comes from spirit. Your judgment is going to change. The truth of you is not. That's your continuity. The unconditional love is the continuity. The knowing that all things are working together for their good in spite of appearances, that's the continuity. Spirit is the continuity of life. In order to come to the place where we put God first, and friends, I have said it before, say it again, this little book right here, that's what it's all about. Put God first. Every story, every Everything in the Bible is about putting God first. That's it. That it could have 3 words in it. Rather than being this thick, a little bitty type, it could just say, put God's first. But that is the most important thing. In order to put God first, we must practice forgiveness for ourselves and for others, keeping in mind that true forgiveness is not conditional. It is in alignment with the truth of innocence. In the now moment, you are continually starting anew, with each moment being the potential for perfection. Think about that. Every moment, you are starting new. And every moment has the potential for perfection. Story about Jesus. Matthew 12, 1 through 7. At that time, Jesus went through the grain fields of the Sabbath, on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry, so they began to pluck heads of grain and eat. When the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, "Look, look, look, oh my gosh, your disciples are doing what is not lawful on the Sabbath." That picking grain and eating it was considered work. So there was that. They're freaking out. He says to them, "Have you not read what David did when he and his companions were hungry? How he entered the house of God and they ate the bread of the presence, and it was not lawful for him or his companions to eat, but only for the priests. Or have you not read in the law that on the Sabbath that the priests in the temple break the Sabbath, yet are guiltless? I tell you, something greater than the temple is here. But if you had known what this means, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the guiltless." He says, greater than the temple is here. Something greater than the temple is here. The temple is the physical manifestation of what we believe God to be. We believe God to be a certain way. Well, God ain't that way. We can't understand spirit. It is incomprehensible. You cannot put God in a box. That's why I use God and spirit simultaneously. Because sometimes God gets put in the God box. You know, big white beard, sits up in the chair, either a hammer or a lightning bolt, just waiting for you to screw up. Then he whacks you and writes it down in a book. Spirit don't do that. Anyway, he says, mercy, not sacrifice. Knowing the innocence of self and individuals by perceiving that Christ's presence. That is mercy. Knowing mercy. Sacrifice is a lessening of the greatness of the soul by false beliefs and through fear. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. I desire love, not fear. Innocence. Co-founder Charles Fillmore in Talks on Truth says this: there is no error in the universe that can stand for one moment in the presence of the innocent mind. Innocence is its own defense. And he who invokes the Father with pure motive and upright heart need not fear any experience. God has not forgotten his world or his children of light. God has not forgotten his children of light. Here is the key to innocence. Pure motive and upright heart. Pure motive and upright heart. These are the standards that you can discern innocence or not. Pure motive, an upright heart. Now you go out into the world today, everything that's coming out of the politics and all that, ain't very much pure motive or upright hearts in that. So it's ours to hold the truth. It is ours to hold the truth of what is. The truth of unconditional love. The truth of every right for every human being to be the best that they can. The truth to be that. There will be times when you have to stop and think about what you may have said or done, because someone may be questioning your actions or integrity. So hold yourself up to that light of intent, remembering that your actions are always about you, and their reactions are always about them. In the Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz talks about doing your best. If you are doing your best with the right heart and intent, you are acting in innocence. If you are doing your best with the right heart and intent, you are acting in innocence. Queen of rock and roll, Tina Turner. Woo! Yes. Most of you might know, might not know, that Tina Turner was a devout Buddhist. She changed to Buddhism, and she became quite the teacher. Tina Turner. The real power behind whatever success I have now was something I found within myself. Something that's in all of us. I think a little piece of God just waiting to be discovered. So this week, friends, as you go about your day to day, and when the opportunity arises, and I'm guessing it will, stop. Say to yourself, I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Allow yourself to experience the innocence of you. Allow yourself to experience the innocence of others. And remember that God did not forget his children of light. God bless you.